Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
It's time for another Battles of the American Civil War with your hosts Bang and Dang, capping it off with another two battles today. We're in the we're in the month of November, wrapping up 1863, and slowly crawling towards the end of this war.
crawling should have been over with 2 years ago.
Should have been over with 3 years ago. Yep, well, we're getting there. Got a lot of stuff. Robert E. Lee is in action again. Jubal Early.
He needs a victory right now.
Well, I don't know if that's going to happen today, but in the meantime, go to our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Give us a subscription where you can hear this full episodes of Battles of the American Civil War, Outlaws and Gunslingers, Lee and Corey on the case, and according to Wikipedia, plus our exclusive YouTube-only Dart League.
Yeah, we might even throw something else on there.
Yeah, you never know what we could have there, plus shorts, clips, and whatever else we feel like throwing up there. Give us a subscription. We're on the race to 500 subscribers right now over there at Bang Dang Network.
You know what you should do for shorts? You should put some of the watch along in the shorts.
No.
Yeah.
We got the Battle of Rappahannock Station and Campbell Station rounding it out for us. Two battles. I like it. It should be a decent episode. Definitely over 30 minutes. So look at that. Look at us back-to-back over 30-minuters. Second battle of Rappahannock Station took place November 7th, 1863, near the village of Rappahannock Station, which is now Remington, Virginia, on the Orange and Alexandria Railroad. It was between the Confederate forces under Major General Jubal Early and the Union under Major General John Sedgwick.
Hey, I haven't heard him in a while.
Part of the old Bristol campaign.
Or Early.
Right. After the Battle of Gettysburg. After the Battle of Gettysburg in July, the Union and Confederate armies drifted south and for 3 months sparred with one another on the rolling plains of northern Virginia. Little was accomplished, however, and in late October, General Robert E. Lee withdrew his Confederate army behind the Rappahannock River, a line he hoped to maintain throughout the winter.
Yeah. He needed to go somewhere where he can sit there and relax without the threat of...
They both needed to go somewhere, especially after Gettysburg, dude. They had to recover.
Gettysburg and Vicksburg.
Well, he wasn't in Vicksburg.
I'm saying, though, both Union armies had major presence in both on the same days.
And if you want to go with Lee and I think Meade's command now in the same, just in a couple months, they had Gettysburg, Chancellorsville, a bunch of shit. Yeah,
it's a big old thing. A single pontoon bridge at the town of Rappahannock Station was the only connection old General Lee retained with the northern bank of the river. The bridge was protected by a bridgehead on the north bank, consisting on two redoubts and connecting trenches. Confederate batteries posted on hills south of the river gave additional strength to this position. The bridgehead was an integral part of Lee's strategy to defend the Rappahannock River line. As he later explained, by holding the bridgehead, he could threaten any flank movement the enemy might make above or below, and thus compel him to divide his forces. When it was hoped that an opportunity would be presented to concentrate on one or other part.
He loves dividing his forces.
He does.
Well, meanwhile, the Union Army of the Potomac's commander, Major General George Meade, divided his forces just as Lee expected. Oh, he was waiting for Meade to do it. He ordered Major General John Sedgwick to attack the Confederate position at Rappahannock Station, while Major General William French forced a crossing 5 miles downstream at Kelly's Ford. Once both Sedgwick and French were safely across the river, the reunited army would proceed to Brandy Station.
That's what they thought, right?
Right, Brandy Station. Leave them alone, man. They've already had wars and battles and shit there. Go somewhere else.
All right, the operation went according to plan. Shortly after noon on the 7th of November, 1863, French drove back Confederate defenders at Kelly's Ford and crossed that river. As he did so, Sedgwick advanced toward Rappahannock Station. General Lee learned of these developments sometime after noon and immediately put his troops in motion to meet the enemy. His plan was, he's probably pissed too, though. He's like, man, just come on. Now he's like, let's just do some damage here, guys.
Hopefully, he's hoping him.
Right. His plan was to resist Sedgwick with a small force at Rappahannock Station while attacking French at Kelly's Ford with the larger part of his army. The success of the plan depended on his ability to maintain the Rappahannock Station bridgehead until French was defeated.
Well, Sedgwick first engaged the Confederates at 3 p.m. when Major General L.B. Howe's division of the 6th Corps drove in Confederate skirmishers and seized a range of high ground 3/4 of a mile from the river. Howe.
You can't have high ground.
Well, they can't.
Right.
Howe placed Union batteries on these hills that pounded the enemy earthworks with a rapid and vigorous fire.
Jeez.
Confederate guns across the river returned the fire, but We already know with little effect. You ain't firing upwards, buddies.
Right. How would they not try to at least have that high ground in the beginning?
Right, you would think you would look around the surrounding area and be like, we need to probably go up there.
He's like, we're good everywhere, but that one spot right there. And he's like, nah, they don't ever even think of doing that.
They're too stupid for that. Nobody takes the high ground.
Right. Jeez, but if they did, we'll be screwed.
God help us.
Right. No one would have known. Major General Jubal Early's division.
Jubal Early.
Major General Jubal Early's division occupied the bridgehead defenses that very day. Early posted Brigadier General Henry T. Hayes.
Or Harry.
Early posted Brigadier General Harry T. Hayes' Louisiana Brigade and Captain Charles A. Green's 4-gun Louisiana Guard Artillery. He placed them in the works and at about 4:30 p.m. reinforced them with 3 North Carolina regiments led by Colonel Archibald Godwin. The addition of Godwin's troop increased the number of Confederate defenders at the bridgehead to about 2,000 men. Sedgwick, he continued shelling the old Rebs throughout the late afternoon, but otherwise he showed no disposition to attack.
Well, why would he need to? As the day drew to a close, Lee became...
You think Sedgwick is just doing that for French's little skirmish down there? Like, try to get more people where he's at? Because he ain't planning on attacking. He's wants French to cross, right?
Maybe.
I think so.
I don't know if he knows that Lee has most of his army over there, but as the day drew to a close, Lee became convinced that the movement against the bridgehead was merely a feint to cover French's crossing farther downstream. You read that.
I did not. Wow.
He was mistaken.
Oh.
At dusk, the shelling stopped, and Sedgwick's infantry rushed suddenly upon the works. Ooh.
Oh, shit.
He was just breaking them down.
Right.
Colonel Peter Ellemaker's brigade advanced adjacent to the railroad, preceded by skirmishers of the 6th Maine Infantry. No Union regiment gained more laurels that day, nor suffered higher casualties, according to the National Park Service, than the 6th Maine Infantry. Apparently.
Wow.
At the command, forward, double quick! They surged over the Confederate works and engaged Hayes' men in hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
Without assistance, the 6th Maine breached the Confederate line, planted its flag on the parapet of the easternmost redoubt.
Nice.
Moments later, the 5th Wisconsin swarmed over the walls of the western redoubt, likewise arresting it from Confederate control. On that very right, Union forces achieved comparable success. Just minutes after Ellemaker's brigade penetrated Hayes' line, Colonel Emory Upton's brigade overran Godwin's position. Upton reformed his lines inside the Confederate works, sent a portion of the 121st New York to seize the pontoon bridge, while the rest of his command wheeled right to attack the confused Confederate horde, now massed at the lower end of the brigade.
They're like, what do we do?
They're like, oh, shit.
Confederate resistance dissolved as hundreds of soldiers threw down their arms and surrendered.
Wow.
Others sought to gain the opposite shore by swimming the icy river or by running the gauntlet of Union rifle fire at the bridge.
Oh, man.
Confederate troops south of the Rappahannock looked on hopelessly as Union soldiers herded their comrades to the rear as prisoners of war. In all, 1,670 Confederates were killed, wounded, or captured in the brief struggle, more than 80% of those engaged.
Damn.
Holy schmoly. Union casualty figures, by contrast, were small, 419 in all.
Wow.
And probably only, 10 dead, maybe?
For the North, the battle had been a complete and glorious victory. An engagement as short as it was decisive.
Nice.
And reflecting an infinite credit upon all concerned. Major General Horatio Wright noted that it was the first instance in which Union troops had carried a strongly entrenched Confederate position in the first assault. It's true, we haven't seen that before.
I don't think either of them.
All right, Brigadier General Harry Hayes, he claimed to have been attacked by no less than 20 to 25,000 Union soldiers.
Yeah, way to cover your ass there, buddy.
Right, this is the figure about 10 times the actual number. Probably about 7,000. The battle was as humiliating for the South as it had been glorious for the old North.
So it was really humiliating.
Right.
2 of the Confederacy's finest brigades, sheltered behind entrenchments and well supported by artillery, had been routed and captured by an enemy force of equal size.
Lee's a moron. What's going on here?
Right. What's going on? Colonel Walter H. Taylor of Lee's staff called it the saddest chapter in the history of this army.
You ain't kidding.
The result of quote-unquote miserable management.
Oh, shit. I think so.
Yeah, an enlisted soldier put it more plainly. He says, I don't know much about it, he said, but it seems to be that our army was surprised.
How? Wow.
Well, because, Lee thought they were just going to sit up there on the hill and just bombard them, but no, they started running down after them.
You got to have a backup plan, because it's never going to go that way. I mean, come on. These past couple months for
It's
Lee.
like, oh, Lee's not as smart as everybody thinks he was.
Right. This is in November. I thought he would. Is he still reeling from July? Getting his ass whooped?
Licking his wounds.
Oh, General Lee would later call on subordinates to submit reports on the battle in an effort to determine what had gone wrong.
Or maybe,
you know what had gone wrong.
You're just an idiot.
Jeez, but on the night of the 7th of November, more pressing matters demanded his attention. Loss of the bridge had destroyed his plans for an offensive and left his army dangerously extended on a now indefensible front. If General Meade acted quickly, he might pin Lee's army against the Rappahannock River, just as Lee had tried to pin Major General John Pope's army against the Rappahannock River 1 year earlier in the Second Battle of Bull Run.
Yep.
General Lee immediately canceled his plans for an attack on French and within hours had his army marching south again.
Right.
He thought he was about to hold up here for the winter.
Nope.
He's going to be good
He
to
said,
go.
Damn it, now we got to go find somewhere else.
He's like, we are freaking 99.9% secured except for the one that's going to kill us up
high
there.
ground, right.
But I don't think they're going to take that. Who takes the high ground?
As of November 2021, the American Battlefield Trust and its partners have acquired and preserved 869 acres of the battlefield where the first and second battles of Rappahannock Station were fought. The battleground for both battles is located along the Rappahannock River in Remington, Virginia, and features visible earthworks as well as bridge and mill ruins.
Really?
Cool. The earthworks at Remington are no longer there, and more than 75% of the battlefield has been developed over.
Yeah, of course.
Idiots.
Of course. Moving on.
All right, well, Lee, look at his chops. Bye-bye.
Lee's making some terrible ever since old Stonewall got moited.
Speaking of another general that's been making some terrible decisions
he's
as well.
been too, hasn't he? Man, I'm just glad that our boy Jeb Stewart's doing good. I think he's still reconnaissancing around.
He's still wandering the old countryside.
Moving on, Battle of Campbell Station happened on the 16th November, year of 1863. Saw Confederate forces under Lieutenant General James Longstreet. He was attacking the Union troops led by Major General Amborse Burnside at Campbell Station, which is now Farragut, Knox County, Tennessee. This is during the Knoxville campaign. Burnside, commander of the Union Army of the Ohio, launched a Union invasion of East Tennessee in late August 1863. Using 2 infantry divisions and cavalry from the 23rd Corps that were stationed in Kentucky. The operation was largely unopposed, and federal troops occupied Knoxville on the 1st of September. It was easy for them.
Sure did.
Nothing.
Many of the inhabitants of East Tennessee were pro-Union and welcomed the Federals.
Obviously.
By mid-September, Burnside's troops had gained control over much of East Tennessee.
Well, East Tennessee would be West Virginia right there.
Pretty much. The strategic situation turned in favor of the Confederacy.
Or would it be North Carolina?
East, North
Kentucky.
Carolina.
Yeah, Kentucky would be.
Right. The strategic situation turned in favor of the Confederacy when Bragg's Army of the Tennessee defeated the Union Army of the Cumberland at the Battle of Chickamauga on September 19th through the 20th of this year.
Or be Virginia.
After his victory, Bragg effectively blockaded the Army of the Cumberland in Chattanooga.
Oh, ain't that fantastic? 2 divisions of the 9th Corps joined Burnside on September 20th, 1863. Brigadier General Orlando Wilcox with 3,000 6-month-old Indian soldiers. Oh, there's soldiers for 6 months.
Right.
Brigadier General Orlando B. Wilcox had 3,000 6-month Indiana soldiers reached at Cumberland Gap on the 3rd of October. Burnside's war reports for October of 1863 reported the following troops present for duty: 6,352 officers and enlisted men in the 9th Corps, 7,912 infantry and artillery, and 7,458 cavalry in the 23rd Corps, 4,391 troops in the left wing. Brigadier General Robert B. Potter led the 9th Corps. Brigadier General Mahan D. Manson commanded the 23rd Corps. Brigadier General James M. Shackelford directed the cavalry, while Wilcox commanded the left wing.
All right. Well, off to the northeast hovered Major General Robert Ransom Jr. with 5,800 cavalry, or Confederate infantry, plus 2 cavalry brigades under Brigadier General William E. Jones and Colonel H.L. Glitner.
Oh, I haven't heard these guys before.
Yet, the Confederate Department Commander Major General Samuel Jones felt that his 8,000 troops were too weak to challenge the Union occupation. Yeah, they have 25,000 men.
Yeah.
October 17th, Bragg sent an infantry division under Major General Carter L. Stevenson and 2 cavalry brigades under Colonels George Gibbs Dibbrell and J.J. Morrison to threaten the southern part of the Union area of control.
Okay.
So I'll send you some more guys then, huh?
All right. 20th of October, the cavalry defeated a Union cavalry brigade under Colonel Frank Wolford of the Union in the Battle of Philadelphia. This setback compelled Burnside to abandon Loudon and fall back behind the Tennessee and Little Tennessee rivers. Burnside concentrated the 6,000 men from the 9th Corps and 3,000 soldiers from Brigadier General Julius White's 23rd Corps Infantry Division in the area near Lenore Station. The remaining 23 Corps Infantry Division under Brigadier General Milo Smith Haskell, he held Knoxville. Brigadier General William Sanders, his cavalry division, watched the area near Maryville, while Wilcox defended Bull's Gap and had 2 infantry regiments and 300 cavalry garrison Cumberland Gap. So they're just chilling over that Cumberland Gap. They're like, I hope we don't get to fight. They don't want to fight, right? Major General Ulysses S. Grant, he worried whether Burnside was capable of holding Knoxville. I think he's fine. Looks like he got a pretty good plan there.
Well, we'll see. On November 4th, Bragg ordered Longstreet to detach his 2 divisions from the Army of Tennessee and use them to recapture Knoxville.
I think Bragg right now might be a better general than Lee.
Maybe.
Right now, at this point in
time. Well, Bragg was critical of Longstreet's mishandling of the Battle of Wauhatchie on October 28th, in which the Confederates failed to cut the Federals' newly established cracker line.
Because look, both Longstreet and Lee, who got their asses whipped at Gettysburg,
right.
they don't know what to do right now. Longstreet's like, I'm going to go west and see if I can clear my head. Lee's like, I'm going to go south to try to hide out for the winter.
And they both failed.
Yes.
Also, Bragg was anxious to get rid of a general whom he regarded as a troublemaker, talking about Longstreet. Longstreet wanted to be reinforced to 20,000 men for the campaign, but Bragg refused and recalled both Stevenson's and Benjamin F. Chatham's infantry divisions that had been sent to oppose Burnside.
Longstreet ain't right, though. He needs the 20,000. He needs that 20,000.
Right. No, that's why Bragg's an idiot. Longstreet tried to obtain accurate maps of East Tennessee, but was only able to get poor ones.
Okay. Poor maps.
If I was like the Union or the Confederates, I'd be like purposely leaving behind fake-ass maps and shit.
Well, I'm sure some did. Moving Longstreet's 2 divisions north, while Stevenson's and Chatham's divisions moved south, overtaxed the old railroad equipment. And the transfer took until November 13th to complete. Wow. General Longstreet belatedly discovered that Stevenson's troops had stripped the countryside of food and supplies, and that his own wagon train was barely adequate to maintain an offensive.
Damn.
Longstreet had 10,000 infantry, 5,000 cavalry, and 35 guns. Wow. Okay, that's a nice little army there. 15,000. After Bragg agreed to loan him Major General Joseph Wheeler and almost all of his army's mounted force.
Longstreet's staff selected Huff's Ferry, a short distance west of Loudon, as the most suitable location for a pontoon bridge across the Tennessee River. Longstreet ordered the division of Brigadier General Micah Jenkins to cross the pontoon bridge, while Major General Lafayette McLaw's division marched northeast to distract the attention of Union forces away from the bridge.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, Wheeler and most of the cavalry would try to seize Knoxville from the south. On the evening of November 13th, the Palmetto sharpshooters from Colonel John Bratton's South Carolina Brigade crossed the Tennessee at Huff's Ferry and secured the bridge site. They said, come on over, boys.
Do it. The usable but somewhat rickety span was completed by the morning of November 14th. At that very same time, McLaw's division arrived at Loudon after marching from Morgantown. No, not Morgantown, just Morganton. No W. White from the Union side had one brigade at Kingston and 1 brigade at Lenore Station, sent 1 infantry regiment and a section of artillery to keep an eye on the bridge. Go keep an eye on that bridge. Take a gun with you.
Right, would you? Chestnut Ridge started near Huff's Ferry and ran to the northeast. On its northern side, the Hotchkiss Valley Road ran from the ferry northeast to Burns' house, where there was a gap in the ridge. The road passed south through the gap to Lenore Station on the railroad. Going north from Burns' house, the road intersected the Kingston Road, which ran from Kingston to Knoxville. The railroad and the parallel main road on the south side of the Chestnut Ridge ran from Loudon northeast to Knoxville. There was also a road across Chestnut Ridge near its southwestern end.
Fantastic.
All right, you can draw that.
That's fucking great.
There you go, Longstreet. There's your map, bud.
Right. It took all day on the 14th November for Jenkins' division to cross that pontoon bridge. Burnside, who arrived at the scene, ordered Colonel Marshall Chapin's brigade of White's division to probe rebel forces at Huff's Ferry. This operation was supported by Brigadier General Edward Fierro's 9th Corps Division. Chapin passed through the gap, marched southwest down the Hotchkiss Valley Road. Late in the day, Chapin's brigade pressed against the old Rebs bridgehead until nightfall. 47 casualties were sustained by the old Union. Fierro's troops were not engaged, though. During that very day, Colonel John F. Who's this guy? Hartramps.
In the last episode.
Colonel John Hartramp's 9th Corps Division, he remained at Lenoir Station.
All right. Colonel Samuel R. Mott's Brigade of White's Division and Colonel Robert K. Byrd's 1st Tennessee Mounted Infantry were posted at Kingston. They would be bypassed by Longstreet's advance and remained isolated there during the campaign.
Fantastic.
Burnside had 9,000 troops available, including only 4 companies of cavalry. The bulk of Burnside's substantial cavalry force was deployed elsewhere. Where?
All right.
Longstreet led 12,000 troops, including 1 brigade of cavalry.
Thought he had 15,000.
Well, I guess not.
Some behind, huh?
All right.
Morning of opening day of gun season in this great state of Michigan, November 15th, 1863, Longstreet mounted his attack against Burnside's Federals. The Confederate commander ordered Jenkins' division and Colonel John Hart's cavalry brigade to advance while McLaw's division crossed the pontoon bridge. In the face of this thrust, Chapin's brigade and Fierro's division retreated across Chestnut Ridge by the road at its southwestern end. Chapin's brigade lost 13 casualties in a skirmish with pursuing Rebs. Chapin and Fierro reached Lenoir Station at 1 p.m., taking 9 hours to march 6 miles because a violent rainstorm in the night had turned the roads to quagmires.
Giggity, giggity. Meanwhile, Jenkins' division marched 9 miles northeast on the Hotchkiss Valley Road. At Burns' house, Jenkins turned south before encountering Fierro's division, and Chapin's brigade posted 3/4 of a mile south of the gap. In the evening of November 15th, Burnside began moving his forces northeast towards Knoxville. He ordered the 4 companies of 6th Indiana Cavalry Regiment and Lieutenant Erskine Giddings' Battery L.
Erskine
Giddings' Battery LNM,
nice.
3rd U.S. Artillery to withdraw to the key intersection of the Lenoir and Kingston roads.
Fantastic. Right. These units were soon followed by Hartramp's infantry and 2 artillery batteries. All these units were slowed by the muddy roads. The leading elements of McLaw's division from the south reached the Burns house, where Longstreet ordered McLaw's to camp for the night. He's like, you just chill here for the night, boys.
Booviac.
That was a long walk in that mud. Feed your horses.
Already don't have shoes and shit for everybody.
You got to rest the horses and shit. Longstreet hoped to cut off Burnside's retreat toward Knoxville, but he was handicapped by a lack of reliable maps of the area. Longstreet later claimed that he was misled by his guide. But darkness had fallen and prevented effective reconnaissance. Soldiers on both sides suffered from a sudden drop of nighttime temperature.
Wheeler arrived at Sweetwater on November 11th with 4 cavalry brigades. Longstreet ordered Wheeler to begin the operation against the south side of Knoxville at dawn on November 13th. He hoped Burnside's focus would be on the north bank of the Tennessee River. Nevertheless, Longstreet made Wheeler aware that a strong Union cavalry force was opposing him.
Hey, there you go. At least you're smart about that, old Longstreet.
By the evening of November 13th, Wheeler's horsemen crossed the Little Tennessee River at Motley's Ford, southeast of Morganton. Hoping to trap Union cavalry at Maryville, Wheeler sent Brigadier General Frank Crawford Armstrong's division circling to the north of that town, while Brigadier General William T. Martin's division struck the town from the west.
Oh, shit. Look at that. In the event, the Union Brigade under Colonel Charles D. Pennebaker had withdrawn behind the Little River to Rockford, leaving only the 11th Kentucky Mounted Infantry in Maryville. Armstrong from the old Rebs established a blocking position, but most of the 11th Kentucky escaped the trap thanks to a providential rainstorm.
Jeez.
Next, Armstrong sent Colonel Thomas Harrison's brigade to attack the 1st Kentucky Cavalry and the 45th Ohio Mounted Infantry regiments, which were 2 miles southwest of Rockford. Harrison troopers overwhelmed the 2 regiments, driving them back to Rockford. That's fine, bud. Quickly finding places to cross the Little River, the Confederates compelled Sanders to abandon Rockford and form a new defense line behind Stock Creek, 2 miles north. Oh, so now the old Rebs are pushing back the old Federals, huh? The old Federales.
Wheeler sent Martin's division to cross upstream and outflank Sanders' line, while Armstrong applied pressure in front. By evening on November 15th, Wheeler's Confederates drove Sanders' cavalry within the defenses on south side of Knoxville. That evening and the next morning, Wheeler's cavalry was stopped by Colonel Daniel Cameron's infantry brigade of Haskell's division. November 16th, Longstreet urgently asked Wheeler to join him, so Wheeler crossed to the north bank of the Tennessee River at Louisville. By that time, it was too late to help Longstreet cut off Burnside's retreat.
Come on, guys. What are you doing? Wheeler claimed to have captured 300 Union soldiers for the loss of 57 men. 14th of November, at the clash south of Rockford, the 1st Kentucky lost 1, 4 wounded, 37 captured, while the 45th Ohio lost 2 wounded and 5 captured, for a total of 49 casualties. November 15th through the 16th, on the south side of Knoxville, the Union cavalry suffered 101 casualties. 11th Kentucky lost 1 wounded, 3 captured. 27th Kentucky Mounted Infantry lost 3 killed. 45th Ohio lost 3 killed, 8 wounded, 83 captured.
Damn. Well, Burnside decided to abandon Lenore's station during the night in order to reach Campbell's station. 7 p.m., he sent away most of his artillery, but the roads were so deep in mud that mule teams had to help drag the guns.
Well, obviously, right.
Meanwhile, the Union troops destroyed the remaining supplies at Lenore's before following the others at dawn.
Wow.
Colonel William Humphrey's brigade of Ferrero's division and one section of Captain Jacob Romer's Battery L, 2nd New York Artillery, formed the rear guard. Since one of its regiments was guarding the wagon train, Humphrey's brigade was only 700 strong.
That's fine.
Yeah, but you don't want only 700 guarding your wagon train.
One of Chapin's companies never got the order to retire.
Oh, wait. One of his regiments was guarding the wagon train. Now, he's in the rear guard, though. Right.
One of Chapin's companies never got the order to retire, and its soldiers were captured. Oh, no. That's just stupidity.
Right.
Come on, really?
Haven't these guys been like chaperones or something on a field trip or something? You gotta count the heads before you leave. And
I can just imagine who's the leader of this guy.
Chapin.
No, the other one. Who he's with? Is it Burnside or Ferrero?
Yeah, Burnside.
Was it Ferrero?
Well, Burnside's the overall guy.
Right. You can see like Burnside. He's walking. He's like, I feel like we forgot something, guys. And he's like, Chapin.
Well, it's one of Chapin's companies, not his whole division.
Yeah, and when that company guy, they wake up and they're like, my family is, or what does he say?
He said, I'm all alone. My wish came true, or my dream came true, or something, right?
Oh, that's from New York. My family's in Paris, and I'm in New York.
My family's in Paris, and I'm in New York.
He's like, oh, Burnside somewhere, and we're here.
And then here comes the sticky bandits, or whatever the hell they're called. The old Rebs.
Oh, man. Longstreet ordered Jenkins' division to follow the Federal retreat, a distance of 12 miles to Campbell Station. Hart's Cavalry Brigade and McLaw's division moved north from Burns' house to the Kingston Road and then turned east, a distance about 10 miles. During the retreat, Bratton's Confederate Brigade continually pressed the Humphreys' rear guard.
All right. Campbell Station was a hamlet located where the Concord Road from the south intersected. Why do I get these? From the south intersected the Kingston Road, now called Kingston Pike. Haramp's division reached a fork where Lenore Road had joined the Kingston Road, which is 1 mile west of Campbell Station and a shorter distance west of the Avery Russell House.
Okay.
Hart-Tramp sent the 200 horsemen of Colonel James Biddle's 6th Indiana Cavalry west on the Kingston Road and deployed his infantry division to cover the intersection. Biddle's troopers went 2.5 miles before they bumped into Hart's Confederate Brigade and fell back skirmishing. About 9:30 a.m., November 16th, Humphrey's 3 Michigan regiments made the first Federal stand at Little Turkey Creek,
Look at these guys.
1.7 miles south of the fork. After being outflanked by Bratton, Humphrey's brigade withdrew north to a hill to make the second Federal stand.
Oh.
The second one. Well, at least they're on a hill.
All right. Humphrey's brigade held a fence line for about a half hour before retreating to Hart-Tramp's position at the fork in the roads. During the second stand, Colonel Huntington Smith of the 20th Michigan Infantry was moited by a bullet in his head.
Damn.
Humphrey withdrew after launching a brief charge to drive back Bratton's lines. At the 3rd Federal stand, Humphrey's brigade formed on the left of Colonel David Morrison's brigade of Farrell's division. Soon afterward, Potter ordered Hart-Tramp's division and Biddle's cavalry to withdraw behind Turkey Creek, about 3/4 of a mile east. By this time, Burnside's wagons trained safely past the fork and were heading east on the Kingston Road.
That's all they needed to do. Well, White already placed Chapin's brigade in the new position. Okay. Jenkins set Bratton's brigade to the left and Brigadier General George T. Anderson's brigade to the right. As Anderson's brigade threatened to turn Humphrey's left flank, the 36th Massachusetts and the 8th Michigan Infantry Regiments of Morrison's brigade pulled out from their position on the right and moved to the left.
Oh, shit.
The two regiments fired into Anderson's men, stopping them, then hustled back to the right flank in time to stop Bratton's brigade. Look at these guys just moving around. Humphreys and Morrison's men went to the rear at the double quick and escaped the attempted envelopment. Look at these guys. This is everywhere.
Look at that. Michigan saved the Federales.
Field generals.
All right. The fourth federal stand was on the east side of Turkey Creek, selected by Burnside. The eastern slope was as much as 100 feet above the creek, and the terrain was very open. The Concord Road joined the Kingston Road on the east bank of the Turkey Creek. Matthew Russell House was in front of the federal position, and the Ava Russell House was on the farther west. White posted Henshaw's Illinois Battery and Captain Joseph Sims' 24th Indiana Battery south of Kingston Road, supported by 2 regiments of Chapin's brigade. Could have had 3.
Right.
Chapin's other regiments were just north of the road. As the 9th Corps troops arrived, they were put in the position.
Get up there, boys. Lieutenant Samuel Nickel Benjamin's 2nd U.S. Artillery Battery E and Giddings's battery unlimbered north of the Kingston Road, while Romer's battery was placed further east, south of the road.
Okay.
Captain William W. Buckley's Battery D, 1st Rhode Island, and Captain John von Shalen's 15th Indiana Battery were placed behind Henshaw's and Sims's batteries. Morrison's brigade formed behind Romer's battery except for the 45th Pennsylvania Infantry, which deployed as skirmishers south of the Kingston Road. Humphrey's brigade formed on Chapin's right with Colonel Benjamin Christ's brigade of Ferrero's division behind it. Okay. These guys.
Colonel Joshua K. Siegfried's brigade of Harttramp's division was to the left of old Christ. Christ?
I think it's Christ.
Christ. Potter, he sent Biddle's cavalry scouting to the north, while the 112th Illinois Mounted Infantry, they scouted south toward Concord. Altogether, Burnside had 9,000 troops in line. 12 o'clock, high noon, Jenkins posted Bratton's brigade in the right of the Kingston Road with Anderson's brigade on its right as well. Brigadier General Evander M. Law's brigade was to the right of Anderson's right. Damn, everybody's on the right. There's a right flanker there. Second line were the brigades.
Wait, so what are those technically be? The left?
Right. Right. And the second line were the brigades of Brigadier General Henry Benning.
We're in the brigades of Brigadier General.
Using way too many generals.
Brigadier.
Right. Way too many brigadiers. In the second line were the brigadiers of Brigadier General. In the second line were brigades of the Brigadier Generals Henry Benning and Jerome B. Robertson. Longstreet had 12,000 men available to his disposal, but only Jenkins' division was present at Foist, and it suffered from accurate Union artillery fire.
Right, well, when
we all know the Union got accurate artillery fire.
Right,
you guys should
especially
know
when they're on a hill
shit.
right now.
And you know how far their cannons can shoot, so why do you get so close?
It's war. Oh, it's war, baby. When McLaw's troops arrived, they were placed with the brigades of Brigadier General. They were placed with the brigades of Brigadier General Joseph B. Kershaw and Colonel Solon Z. Ruff to the north of the Kingston Road, and Colonel Goodbryan's brigade in second line.
Okay.
Who the fuck is Solon Z. Ruff?
Exactly.
Brigadier General Benjamin Humphrey's brigade and Hart's cavalry were placed on the far left with orders to turn the federal right flank.
Okay.
Humphrey's Confederates pressed against Humphrey's Union troops until about 1:30 p.m. when Hartramp ordered Chris's brigade to the front line in place of Humphrey's men. They said we can't have Humphrey on Humphrey violence here, guys.
Not today, Charlie. Because old Longstreet failed to issue clear orders, both McLaws and Jenkins believed the other was supposed to make the main assault. For 3 hours. All right.
I didn't just sit there for 3 hours and be like, what are we doing over here?
Right. And you think Longstreet were like, what the fuck?
Right. Why are they just sitting there for 3 hours? Like,
For 3 hours, no major attack was made, and the action became an artillery duel. 2 of Sims' guns were disabled, and a Confederate-made 20-pounder Parrott rifle and Captain Pitchagrew Woolfolk's Virginia battery bursts its barrel when fired.
ooh, wonder how many that killed.
3 p.m., Jenkins became impatient and obtained permission from Longstreet to launch a flanking attack.
He's like,
what do you mean?
I told you 3. He's like, what are you doing back so early?
What do you mean? I thought you guys had silencers on your guns or something. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Fucking samurais and shit.
Right. He sent the brigades of Law, Anderson, and Benning filing to the right.
It's a hell of a law firm.
Right. Through a wooded area. He's like, you guys go through that wooded area on the right and get in position to envelop the federal left flank, will ya? They're like, will do. The effort miscarried when Law's brigade attacked in the wrong direction. Like, now, which way is right again?
Oh, no.
And he said, Wooded Air. How about we go on this left side in this open field?
My goodness. Oh, by 3 p.m., Burnside was ready to pull back again, with Chapin's brigade and Romer's battery forming the rear guard. The withdrawal was managed in good order, and neither Jenkins nor McLaws made a serious effort to interfere. 4 p.m., Burnside soldiers made the 5th federal stand of the day on high ground athwart the Kingston Road.
Oh, they got the high ground.
This was near where a road went north from the Kingston Road to a now-vanished hamlet named Loveville.
Okay.
The position's only weakness was a patch of high ground about 1 mile south of the road. Ferrero's division deployed north of the road, with Morrison's brigade in the first line and Humphreys and Chris's brigade in a second.
Oh, shit. Ferrero's division was supported by Sims and Benjamin's batteries. Hartranft's division was posted south of the road with the 107th Illinois and Romer's battery to its right, and the rest of O. Chapin's brigade in the second line. When the Confederate infantry approached, it was stopped by Federal artillery fire. Colonel Edward Porter Alexander unlimbered the Confederate guns and ordered artillery duel commenced, and another artillery duel commenced, with neither side gaining the upper hand. O. Jenkins moved the O. Rebs brigade of Benning and Anderson and Law into the high ground to the south. This prompted Hartranft to face his troops to the south and for Romer's guns to shell Jenkins' flankers. Jenkins' flankers.
Oh, Jenkins' flankers.
That movie. By 6 p.m., Burnside ordered Ferrero's men to retreat, followed by artillery and Hartranft's division as well. Chapin's men began to form a rear guard. After an exhausting march on empty stomachs, the first Union... empty stomachs. At least you're still alive to have those empty stomachs.
Right.
I mean, your stomachs will still be empty if you're dead, but you wouldn't be
You even feel it.
feeling those effects of that empty stomach. The first Union infantry reached Knoxville about 4 a.m.
Safe, boys.
Yep, on November 17th.
Many Union officers were proud of the way that their units executed maneuvers during the battle.
I mean, it wasn't bad.
Right. The artillery of both sides took a prominent part. Romer's battery fired 429 rounds during the action. The National Park Service estimated that there were 400 Union and 570 Confederate casualties at Campbell Station. It noted that Burnside's troops won the race for Campbell Station and that the Knoxville campaign might have ended differently if Longstreet's men had reached there first.
Exactly.
Union losses at Campbell Station amounted to 31 killed, 211 wounded, and 76 missing, for a total of 318 casualties.
Farrell's division lost 232. White's division lost 63. Hartranft's division lost 15.
Good for him.
Adding the 120 casualties at Lenore Station makes 438 Federales losses for November 14th. Yeah, what's 2 days? 14th through 16th.
3 days.
Exclusive of the cavalry fighting on the South Bank, though.
Right.
McLaws did not report losses, but Jenkins admitted sustained 174 casualties, of which 124 came from Broughton's brigade.
Damn.
Local inhabitants reported that the Confederates lost 91 moited and 300 wounded, but that is probably an overestimate. There's actually 90 and 299.
All right.
In his Battles and Leaders article, Orlando Metcalf Poe suggested that the Union and Confederate losses were equal.
Yeah, they both lost some. How about
Right.
that? The actions at Campbell Station and Lenore Station represented Longstreet's best chance of smashing Burnside and seizing Knoxville. Longstreet's failure to wreck Burnside's forces in the field greatly lessened his chances of capturing Knoxville. We just said that. Later, Longstreet blamed his guides and a lack of maps for his inability to outmarch Burnside to Campbell Station. In fact, he was informed of his opportunity by McLaws and others on the evening of November 15th, but simply did not act.
It did not.
For his part, Burnside managed his outnumbered force well and kept ahead of the Confederate pursuit.
He sure
Good for him.
did.
He did play a nice little
He sure did.
standing and
All right.
what do they call it?
All right.
What do they call them?
Stand and deliver, baby.
Oh. The stand. They made like 5 stands during the day.
All right.
What are they called?
Stands.
Oh,
Yeah.
made their
Fifth Federal.
5th stand. Yes. Yeah, but they stood when they needed to keep these bitches back and then pack up and move again.
Right. Not only did this save Knoxville from capture, but it drew Longstreet's forces farther and farther away
Right.
from Bragg's army, which was being threatened by Grant's buildup of federal troops.
Ooh,
This situation benefited Federales overall.
strategy.
Right. November 29th, 1863, 30 minutes after the Confederate attack on Fort Sanders failed, Longstreet received official news that Grant had beaten Bragg at the battle. That Grant had beaten Bragg at the Battle of Missionary Ridge.
Don't worry, we'll have those coming up.
This defeat meant that Longstreet's line of communication with Bragg's army was cut.
Ooh.
Major General William Tecumseh Sherman, with 30,000 Unions, set out from Chattanooga on November 19th in order to relieve Knoxville. Badly outnumbered, old Longstreet raised the siege of Knoxville on 4th of December and withdrew northeast to Rogersville. He don't know what to do right now.
Right. Campbell Station was incorporated as Farragut on January 16th, 1980. The town was named after Admiral David Farragut, who was born in the area.
Makes sense.
The Avier Russell House, also known as the Campbell Station Inn, was built in the early 1800s and was used as a stopping place for people passing through Knoxville. Earlier visitors included Tennessee Governor John Sevier and President Andrew Jackson, who raced horses at a track in nearby Concord.
Fantastic.
The building is located at the corner of Kingston Pike and Campbell Station Road. There's a historical marker commemorating the Battle of Campbell Station at Farragut Town Hall.
Oh, cool.
Sweet, dude.
Right.
A marker.
For you guys.
Right.
Would you camp out at Gettysburg for the weekend?
Sure.
Right in the middle of the battlefield?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
And that's going to do it for us. Rappahannock Station, Campbell Station, two nice little Union victories, I would say there. The Confederates are doing terrible right now.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, they're pretty much done.
It's like the Union knows they can end the war, and the Confederates know they lost the war, but they're keeping it going for political reasons, and it's bullshit.
Maybe. Well, yeah, they won that. We got the Battle of Lookout Mountain and Missionary Ridge, which we just talked about coming up next, which is the battles of Chattanooga's. The battles of Chattanooga.
Got a couple A's coming up, huh?
A couple A's coming up, and then the Battle of Mine Run. Got a couple B's following that.
Nice.
Oh, the Confederates, out of 7 battles that finished out 1863, the Confederates only win 2 of them. So.
And they take 2 days off. The end of year.
To end the year, and they come, well, a lot more days off, because they don't come back to the 17th of January.
This battles, I'm sure there was battles.
No, there wasn't.
We missed like 1,200 already.
Poo-poo. Well, I can just tell you, scrolling through these battles of 1864,
Confederates get some victories.
There's a lot of blue, though.
Looks like a lot of red.
Yeah, red on piece of shit BBCs.
BBC. Look at all that.
Like in an A battle and second battle of Petersburg, and then nothings. Go check out YouTube, like I said, at Bang Dang Network. Shorts, clips, full episodes, exclusives, all that. Give us a subscription, like, comment on all the videos, all 700 of them.
Do it.
I don't know how many are there, but Spotify and iPads, or iTunes, or whatever, Apple, whatever it's called. Leave a review for us.
Yeah, come on, guys.
And we'll get back to you next week for the battles of Chattanooga and some more Union victories. So, spoiler alert, we're the Mother Michiganders with
Bang Dang.